Hey guys, welcome to the Challenge Podcast. I'm Coach Steve.
And I'm Coach Nick, and we're going to be talking about everything fitness, health, and the challenge.
Let's get on with the show.
What's up guys, Coach Steve here, and welcome back to another episode of the Challenge Weekly Show. Today I'm joined with our co-host, Coach Nick. Nick, how are you doing today?
I'm really well, thanks, Coach Steve. How are you?
I'm well. Last week we spoke about how Coach Steve had his battles with the old spicy cough, the old C19, and I'm on the mends. I'm on the up. I've gone back to some training. I've gone back to getting my steps up again. I can confirm that my hunger has come back, and I'm still a little bit nasally. It might be my voice is a little bit different, and I still got that kind of like cough that kind of hangs around after COVID. But we're on the mends. We're on the up. And we're back into all the good stuff, the things that we enjoy, good old training, good old nutrition, and all the things that we love, Nick.
Well done. So the world doesn't end and you've kept going, and that is what's going to happen, and you'll get right back on.
That's right. That's right. And, there are individuals who are likely going to experience some bouts of unwellness, let that be COVID or the flu or the cold or, your kids in daycare, they come home with something and you catch it, right? And these challenges are going to come up throughout the challenge over the next 12 weeks. It's all about how we respond to this. And, just very quickly, my advice for getting back into training after some time off is, firstly, we do need to kind of observe our body and where we are in time, right? So for me, I know that my lungs are still struggling, although a lot of the training that I do isn't very, cardiovascular driven training. So I'm not doing like long runs or long bouts of prolonged sets or anything like that, where my cardiovascular health is the limiting factor. A lot of what I do is strength training and resistance training. So for me, going back to the gym, it was business as usual, happy days, going in, getting a good pump, getting a good tension on my muscle and really trying to get some reps out, where my ability to be out of breath wasn't really the limiting factor. So for me, no dramas getting back into training. For you, very individual for you, maybe the limiting factor to your training is your cardiovascular ability. So if you are out of breath while training, you might not be able to get as many reps in. If you were really wiped out by COVID, the flu, your kids' runny nose, whatever it is, you might need to take some more time off and or slowly build yourself back into some training. That might mean that you start at a lower load or at a lower volume as you kind of get yourself back into some training. But the main takeaway here, Nick, is that it's not over. Just because you had a little bit of a bump in the road, maybe a week off from training or a few days from training, let that be because of sickness or something else. Maybe, life's busy, you got a million things going on and the last thing on your mind is training. It's okay. It's all right. We're going to get back onto it. It's all about the journey. It's not about the individual day or the individual workout, the individual rep or the set. It's all about the long-term goal here. Just getting back on, getting back into that routine, getting back into the things that we love, and that is training, good food, and the fitness lifestyle.
Correct. And it never leaves you. So, and you've never failed. You just got to keep going. That's all it is.
That's all it is. Mm-hmm. Now, Nick, it's an exciting week in the challenge, like always. This week is our prep week, the preparation week for the first ever M Challenge. And as of today, it's being Tuesday, we are now day 2 of prep week. And we've had an exciting day yesterday on Monday. We've had lots of questions on the forum, lots of individuals trialing their training plan, trialing their nutrition plan, and exploring the features of the app. And I will invite you to spend some time playing around with the app. We do have some individuals, as soon as the app was open, was like, oh, I can't do this. And it's like, oh, hold on, you can. Take a moment, have a look. You can do those features. So I will invite you to take a moment, play around, go into different areas of the app, swipe left, swipe right, go and look at the browse section, look at the history, and look at the ways you can add food, remove food, and such like that into your plan. So this is why we have the prep week. It's an entire week to prepare. Now, I will comment that the challenge has not begun yet. The challenge has not begun yet. The challenge officially starts on the 11th of July. So if you're listening to this and you're thinking, oh, geez, I couldn't start the challenge yesterday. Well, no, it's prep week. It's fine. You got a whole week to prepare. We're preparing. We're taking time to change our environment, get our food ready, test out the training plans, because the challenge officially begins on the 11th of July. So we've still got time. You can still get your friends to come and join you on the challenge. You can still sign up to the challenge yourself. If you're sitting on the fence, you can download the app and get started right away. We're in prep week. The challenge begins on the 11th of July.
Yeah, true. So don't worry about it. Don't stress, just one step at a time. Control what you can control and you will get there.
That's right. Mm-hmm. Now, Nick, let's talk about prep week. Let's talk about what people should be doing for prep week. So Nick, take us away. Like once we log into the app, we've signed up, we logged into the app, it's prep week right now. What are some things people should be doing this week to prepare for the challenge to start on the 11th of July?
All right. So the first thing you should do is choose your program. So that would be choose your training program. We've got so many to choose from, and really you can't break it. So go in and have a look at the programs within the programs, the browse section. Choose your program is the first thing that you should be doing.
That's right. And we have had quite a number of individuals who have emailed us or asked questions on the forum stating things like, oh, I'm, this tall and this weight, and this is my experience, what's the best program for me? And my answer is that all the programs are equal to each other, right? They're all designed with the same framework, meaning that they are designed to help you to stimulate muscle growth, which is important for both fat loss goals and muscle gaining goals. So your dimensions, your height, your weight, your training experience doesn't matter too much about the training program that you choose. Ultimately, it comes down to your individual preferences. How long do you want to train for? What equipment do you have available to you? What training split do you enjoy? And if you want to have a general program or a specific program, meaning that if you want to train your whole body, your chest, your arms, your back, your legs, all the good stuff, or if you want more of a specialized program such as the Ultimate Arms program or the Legendary Legs program, designed to build a specific body part. So the choice is really up to you. And like you said, Nick, you can choose whichever training program you want. You could swap and change all you want, and you could use the browse feature and go through all the training programs if you want to try the 120 different workouts in our program. 120 different workouts, all of them with a beginner, intermediate, and advanced option. So there's 360 workouts that you can choose from, a full view all the way around, 360 degrees, 360 programs, lots of programs to choose from over 84 days. So you could be doing a few workouts per day if you want to try to get all of them done over the next 84 days.
Oh gosh, I wonder if there's anyone who will do that now. But yeah, it really goes with what we've been preaching for a long time. Weights come first, weights before dates with the stepper.
Ooh, weights before dates with the stepper. I like that.
Yeah. So weights before your cardio dates, unless you've got a cardio goal. But yeah, so I think it's really time to put your energy into this program and just enjoy it and do your steps and your nutrition, and that's it. Then you can live your best life as well. You don't have to worry.
No.
It's not going to take up too much of your time.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
Now, once we've chosen our training program, we do need to set up our nutrition plan as well. So you just need to go in, put in your biometrics. That's where it becomes important. Your age, your height, your weight, your physical activity level, and then, scaling where you want to put your goal, whether you want to have maybe some steady weight loss or some steady weight gain, or maybe some rapid weight loss or some rapid weight gain. Now, that scale is really nice. It does scale our calories accordingly. And we have had some individuals contact us saying, oh my God, my calories are way too low. If they're only 1,000 calories, that can't be right. And what I say to those individuals is that your nutrition plan is specific to you. Maybe you do have a low body weight to start with, maybe you have a low physical activity level to start with, and maybe, just maybe, you chose rapid weight loss, meaning that we put you in a really large energy deficit or a calorie deficit, which means that your calories might be very low to start with. So if that is you and you're a little bit concerned about your calories, I will invite you to double check some of those metrics that you put in when you set up your nutrition plan, and you can update your nutrition plan as many times as you like, just via the little I button on the top right of your nutrition plan, and it will just reset your program, recalculate your program depending on what information you plug into the calculator.
That's right. And my advice, and I'm sure it's the same with you, Coach Steve, don't go too extreme too soon, because that might be actually what you're used to doing, and that's why results stall. You want to, as we talk about, firing bullets from a gun, you don't want to fire them all at once. So if you're like extreme weight loss, huge activity, it's like, well, wait a minute, you could be doing half the stuff and still getting the results. So let's just see first what's going on. It's tempting to go extreme, but you can do that later.
Yeah. I think in the world we live in, where we want that instant gratification, right? We want to see weight loss, now, right? We want to go the extreme. We want to go the biggest deficit, the what's going to get me there fast. I want that six pack tomorrow, not next week, not in 12 weeks. I want it tomorrow, not even tomorrow. I want it today. I want it right now,
I want it yesterday.
I want it yesterday, right? So I am going to invite you to be patient, and often we get the best results when we think of that long term in mind, because when we do try to go maybe these extreme weight loss strategies, yeah, great, you can lose weight really quickly, but that might not be your actual goal. Your goal might be that you want to maybe have that six pack, or maybe the sculpted legs, or, the broad shoulders, or, maybe like a toned back, or whatever it is, where it is often related to the muscle mass that we have. We want this physique, we want this body composition goal. And if we do choose to do too much of a weight loss strategy too quickly, it might be too much. It might be in a position where we lose lots of muscle mass. We can't train very hard, meaning that we lose muscle mass even quicker. And then we get into a position where, great, we've lost maybe 5 kilos, but it's not 5 kilos of body fat, what was our goal. So I will invite you to, be a little bit cautious about it. Maybe you do choose just steady weight loss. And what we recommend to individuals is to try to lose body weight at a rate of 0.5 to 1% per week. So nice steady weight loss. Anything more than that can suggest that we're losing muscle mass. Anything less than that might mean that we can go a little bit harder with our dieting strategies. And then if our goal is weight gain, if we want to gain weight, we recommend that you gain weight at a rate of about 0.5 to 1% per month, meaning that if you go any harder than that, maybe you're gaining 1% per week, there's a chance you're gaining lots of body fat rather than muscle mass, if that's the strategy, which, hey, for some individuals, that's your goal. You want to gain as much mass as you can. Sure, no dramas, but that's kind of what we recommend around our weight loss and weight gain strategies.
Yeah, absolutely. And like, just speaking from personal experience, I'm doing steady weight loss for my comp, and it's working so well for me. So I'd just like to put it out there to everyone to just be patient, because for me, I'm revealing a physique that if I just said rapid, I'd just be skinny in a sec. Yeah. And it's not what we want. That's not what we're after. We're after shape. We're after strength. We're after everything. So let's go slow.
No, I agree. Now, Nick, we inevitably get questions and comments saying that I want the whole package. I want to gain muscle. I want to lose weight. I want to run a marathon. I want to do the splits, and I want to be able to do a backflip all at once while nailing that rock climbing wall. And all the things. We want all the things, and that's fair. We want all the things. Now, my advice to you in prep week is to take a moment to think about your expectations. What can you reasonably achieve? And sometimes trying to do everything all at once, kind of like a Swiss Army knife, right? If we're trying to do everything all at once, we don't actually achieve anything, right? So my advice to you is to stick to one goal, focus on one goal at a time. So if you want to primarily lose weight, commit to weight loss. If you want to primarily build muscle, commit to that weight gain process of building muscle. We can't do both. You can't say, I want to lose weight and gain weight at the same time, because they're juxtaposing goals. They're completely opposite. So you might be in a position where you're just treading water in one spot, which might be suitable for some individuals. Yeah, no dramas. But if you want to actually make a significant change over 12 weeks, you need to choose, to go left or right. Do I want to lose weight, or do I want to gain weight? Do I want to lose body fat, or do I want to gain muscle? Because they are two different goals, and there's a very small percentage of people that can do both in a short period of time. There are some individuals that can do both over a long period of time. So someone like Coach Nick, she's able to maybe build muscle and lose body fat over, let's say, 12 months or 18 months, right? In this recomposition type idea, because it's of this idea of maybe steady weight loss, steady weight gain, balancing between the two over a long period of time. But in the challenge, we're talking 12 weeks. We can't expect to do both over a short period of time unless you're brand new to training, or if you're coming back after some time off, or for those folk who are taking a little bit more than creatine, but we don't talk about them.
No, because that's a whole different ball game. And that's, I think most of Instagram is doing that. So if you're trying to model yourself after somebody that's on Instagram, that's where you're going to fall down a little bit. If you ever go to a natural bodybuilding show, you'll see that people look fairly normal. Like most of you guys at the end of the 12 weeks, it's not that extreme. And that's where I live, in that camp. Yeah. So, I know all the struggles, and I know, it's a really fine line, especially once you get to a lean point. You've got to be really careful with yourself, because you can easily just drop that muscle. Your body wants to. It's like it's like carrying some extra weight, and it's going, I don't know, I'm just going to drop this because I've got to run from a lion and I'm stressed. I'm going to drop this muscle and make you look like a skinny thing again. I'm 1 minute away from that, and that's not what I want. So I'm with you guys.
No, I hear you. Now, we're getting lots of questions about supplements come in. Now, you will find supplements programmed and prescribed in your nutrition plan, primarily around protein powders and protein snacks. They will get summarized in your shopping list about what you should be purchasing. Now, we do recommend the use of sports supplements in the challenge, right? Think about it like you're building a house, right? Anyone could build a house with just say a hammer and a saw, right? It might take a lot of time, effort, maybe you need a little bit of skill to be able to use the hammer and the saw, or you can choose to use power tools. Maybe you've got a nail gun, right, and an electric saw. Okay, so you make the house building process easier, simpler, faster, more effective, and if anything, the cuts will be straighter and the nails will be straighter when you put them in, right? So, my advice to you is take that idea with your sports supplements. So you may choose not to use sports supplements, sure, no dramas, but you're just like trying to build a house with just a hammer and a saw. It might take some time, effort, you need to be on point with everything, or you can utilize power tools to make it a little bit easier for you. Now, if you're not sure what sports supplements to utilize, I would recommend you check out the Learn section of the M Challenge app, where we have an article that's all about understanding sports supplements. And our main three to start with is a protein powder, a creatine supplement, and a pre-workout. That's our top three for anybody who's brand new to sports supplements. Then once you've established that foundation, you can add on other sports supplements. Maybe you want to dabble in some nighttime protein or some BCAAs, or maybe some hormone support or some thermogenic aids and all these other fun supplements that we can use. But I recommend those first three to start with: protein, creatine, and a pre-workout.
Yeah, they're like putting an extra little bit of nice, I don't know, car stuff, but stuff into your fuel tank, like a nice extra thing. But first of all, get the fuel right. You don't want to have the wrong fuel and be trying to run your engine and then put a fuel. What's that little bottle that you can put in to make your fuel better? I don't know. A cleaner of fuel.
A cleaner of fuel. No.
I don't know what it is. Someone with a car, probably Paul, our sales, he'll tell us. But I don't know, but it's just, you got to fuel yourself correctly first up.
Yeah. Now, if you're unsure of what maybe is communicated in the plans, or you have questions very unique to your situation and you're not sure what to do, I will recommend that you reach out to us on the forum. So Nick and I have been super active on the forum over the past couple of weeks, even on days like yesterday or today, super active, other than when we're recording things like this. So you'll get an answer very quickly on the forum. Because I'm living on the forum, I don't spend too much time on places like our Facebook social hub and such. And we do have a great admin support team via our email or via social media, if you were to message maybe the M Challenge directly on social media. But they are, our admin support. They're super well versed in the challenge, but they may not have the same skill set as Nick and I. So if you do want a very specific question answered around training or nutrition, please reach out to us on the forum on the M Challenge app. If you do have broader questions, maybe, I don't know, what's the best pair of tights to buy, right? Maybe you reach out to places like our Facebook social hub, where you might reach out to our community on what their opinions are on, clothing or shoes, or, those types of questions.
Motivation, different recipes. I mean, they're amazing. There are some people that just create the best things ever. If you're wondering, you should check that out. And then often our ambassadors will take pictures of themselves training, so you can go, wow, I should be training too. So it's a great place to live, to make friends as well. And we know that accountability and community is one of the things that really helps longevity.
Oh, absolutely.
In the challenge. So that's definitely an awesome resource. But if you want coaches word of mouth, come to the forum. Oh, one more thing I better add. Also, please do scroll down and check if your question's been asked before, because they're kind of building up now, and some of them are common questions, and I find that some of them have been asked before. So just double check, because that might be an instant answer for you as well.
Yeah, we do have the tag option. So when you do ask a question, you can put a tag on it saying it's like nutrition or training or supplements and such. So if you do have a question that's maybe related to supplements, you can actually search via that tag and you can see all the questions that have come up through supplements. And we do have a number of individuals who are choosing not to use a tag on their question for whatever reason. So if you do ask a question, I will invite you to add a tag to that question so that other individuals might be able to find the question that you ask and they can get an answer quickly as well. So there's lots of questions on the forum already, lots of open learning. So if you want to have a broad, non-structured way of learning and to scroll through what people are talking about on the forum, go check that out. Briefly scroll and have a look at what the conversation is on the forum right now.
Absolutely. And feel free to add if you found anything that has worked for you in terms of like any technical fixes and stuff. We've had a few people that have come up with some really interesting little things that I wouldn't have known about, especially with the step counter and things. Some people that are very technical have come up with some good ideas around that. So that's been really good as well. We really appreciate your help.
Yes, we do. Now, Nick, when we look at something like the nutrition plan, it might be a little bit overwhelming, right? Like we design a nutrition plan to balance for the masses, right? So we've got individuals who want to eat the exact same meal every single day. We want people that want variety. We want people that want flexibility. Some people want, lots of super defined everything that they need to eat. Some people don't even want to listen to that and just have, the stock standard everyday repeated meals. So if you're looking at the meal plan, feeling really overwhelmed, I want you to take a moment, take a breath. It's okay. You'll find that the meal plan has individual ingredients. Those ingredients you can swap and change. You can remove them, you can add them. So you could design a meal plan based around the foods that you were eating prior to the challenge. So let's say for breakfast every day you enjoyed Weet-Bix, right? As an example, you could add Weet-Bix to your plan and modify it. And maybe that means that you just add some fruit to your breakfast so that you have a whole meal for breakfast and it's not too different to what you were having previously. So that's the first thing I would recommend. Now, if you are finding that every single day the variety is too much, it's too overwhelming, you can simply repeat the same day over and over again. So, let's say the start of prep week, which was, the 4th of July, maybe that one day is your favorite day. You just go back to the 4th of July every time you look at the meal plan and you repeat that over and over and over again. And that's okay. You can do that. You can utilize that. And that's a strategy that some people are employing already. So once you build that foundation, that confidence around meals, then you could start maybe making some more extravagant food options and changes and building bigger recipes and fancy thing with your food, because often starting with just the basics, maybe the classic, meat and 2 veg, right? That type of concept. All right, we've got some steak, we've got some rice and some potatoes. Great, there's my meal, done. Or chicken broccoli rice, classic bodybuilder type meal. So think about, a plate of food with, a few different food items. That's kind of how we're designing our meals. Maybe you put it in a container, there's your meal prep done. That's kind of where we're leaning towards a lot of our meals in our nutrition plan, and maybe less inclined to be making extravagant recipes and meals that way, which is fine for those individuals. We do have a whole range of recipes, but that can be feelings of overwhelmingness for someone who's brand new to the challenge.
Yeah, and I will say the recipes have calories on them. If you want to insert them in somewhere, that's up to you. So you can do with the recipes as you please. My advice would absolutely be the same as yours. Just keep it simple.
Keep it simple. Now we're getting lots of questions around cardio. What do I do for my cardio? And like we kind of suggested, there's less of a formal element and prescription of cardio in your training plans. So the main priority in our training programs is your step count. So I will recommend that most individuals aim for that target of about 10,000 steps per day. But that's just a number that's nice and round and pretty, 5 digits, 10,000 steps per day. If you can't reach that step count, you can do fewer steps, but the goal is to try to build up our step count. So if you're really struggling on 3,000 steps per day, try to aim for 4,000 steps or maybe 5,000 steps and build yourself up. Right. You can see your step count in the steps leaderboard. We are still going through some challenges with Android users. So I will invite you to be patient with our step count for those users there. But that's a great way to keep yourself motivated and accountable as we focus on our step count. Less focus on, doing formal cardio, get your steps up, get outdoors, get some fresh air. And that's the most effective way to focus on weight loss.
I can't even explain how that has helped me just from a we're trying to move forward with this podcast, but I've got to tell you, user from my own mouth, I don't do any formal cardio whatsoever anymore. Coming from 7 spin classes a day, I am leaner, I've got more muscle mass, and all I do is walk and lift and eat.
How good. Living the dream, Nick.
Yeah, and I'm like 43 as well. So like it's not even age thing, you know. I'm just saying, as in, nothing can stop me now. Nothing except for work. We're good.
So Nick, tell me, if you were to maybe have like a billboard or like a megaphone and tell everybody your one tip through prep week, what is that one tip you'd give that person?
All right. So this will go out to all the busy people out there who think that they don't have time or are not morning people. My very, very big tip, which I still do now and I always have done, is plan your day the night before. So set your gear out the night before, including have your meals ready in the fridge, your shoes, car keys, everything ready to go. That's what I do. And then I just pick up my little bag that's in the fridge or put my containers in the bag, and then I move forward and I'm out the door. I don't give myself any options of choice in the morning. So I make all the choices at nighttime. So you can actually, if I was to take my camera, one day we might do a visual podcast, into another room, you would actually see that I've preset it already for tomorrow, because we're a bit busy at the moment, aren't we, Coach Steve? So I've already made that, because I've got the live tonight and stuff like that, or I've already set it all out, because I don't want to have any excuses for myself tomorrow when we go to work to miss anything. So I've set my gear out. You also know that I have about 10 changes of clothes. I don't know why, but I take everything with me. So I've got the biggest bag in the world.
You know, Nick, every time we've gone anywhere, let that be to a gym or the office or anything like that, you always seem to bring multiple bags, multiple clothes and shoes and meals and everything in between. So it's almost like, yeah, you're planning a holiday all the time, impromptu holiday, and you might be like, well, I'm set for the weekend and the whole week. I'm ready to go. And I
know. And
like
have
that.
I ever once changed my clothes at work? No. But I've always got spare clothes for everybody that needs them. And yeah, I don't know why. It might be just from the years of teaching exercise classes where you sweat a bit and stuff like that, but I will never not be like that. So I just love to plan. It's part of my personality. If I can't plan, I'm a little bit on edge. So I know my little weaknesses. So my strengths are to plan. So I just work towards those. How about you?
I guess for me, you know, when we look at things like motivation and discipline and structure, those things might be fleeting, might be limiting. And what plays the biggest part in a successful change? Let that be, I want to start strength training, I want to follow a diet, I want to read more, I want to, meditate, I want to study, I want to make a change. Whenever you need to make a change in your life, you might have all the motivation in the world, but that is limiting, it's fleeting, it goes away. You might have all the focus of discipline, I'm going to force myself to do it, but that, eventually falls down and crumbles. The biggest factor that will support or limit your ability to make a change in your life is your environment. Okay, so I'm talking about your immediate environment around you. I'm talking about the social environment, maybe who you live with, your family, your friends, your co-workers. So my advice to anybody in prep week is to take a moment to think about your environment. And that could be your immediate environment, your slightly more external or macro environment, right? So if you live in a house where maybe you're in a share house, like I used to live in a share house when I was younger, back at uni days, right? And we had a very small fridge, and I had very small space to do any sort of meal prep. So that environment supported me to make meals kind of more on the go. I couldn't prepare too far in advance because I just didn't have the genuine logistical space for that, right? So it wasn't until I made bigger changes in my environment where I got another fridge and I had space and I was able to do things like prepare foods at home that I was to make more significant changes in my body composition, right? Even down to things like through the COVID period, right? Through COVID, I was able to go and buy a whole bunch of gym equipment. So I've got a nice little gym set up in my single car garage, right? Now that environment supports very impromptu training sessions. So maybe after this podcast, I might just go take some pre-workout and go train. So it becomes a much smaller and less impactful process to go and train rather than me trying to find time to like, all right, I'm going to go train this afternoon. You know, I need to drive to the gym. It's going to take like 20 minutes and then, you know, get in my car, I go set up, I do my session. It might take me an hour. Then I drive home. Okay, it's getting close to 2 hours and I go shower and all the things. So it turns into this big long thing, but then now I've kind of streamlined it and made it easy. So that's, you know, my own unique environment. And I don't know your own unique environment, but everyone has their own unique environment that they can make changes towards. So maybe it is small changes like speaking to your family, being like, oh, this is my goal. Maybe speaking to your partner, oh, I want to do this training program. You know, could you look after the kids at 6 o'clock every night so I can go and train? Okay, great. You made changes to your environment. Maybe like Coach Nick, you make a space where you can set up your gym clothes for the next day. So maybe you move all the stuff out of the front room and you make your own little palace, as you will. So you've got your maybe your shoes lined up and your training program there. Maybe you got some dumbbells and your workout gear. So everything's all set up. Your environment's ready to go. So you're making it easy to do it, right? You're getting rid of any barriers or any friction to actually make that change. You're making it easy to do those things. So that's my top tip, is to review your environment and make changes to your environment, because that's ultimately what will support or lead to failure in the challenge.
Super good. That leads to longevity, you know, when you change your environment, because that's a base level thing, and we need to build that foundation. Good job.
Now, Nick, let's move on to our next segment here. We're going to highlight some of our members within our community, the community spotlight. So, Nick, take us away. Who have you been looking at this week?
Okay, so ding, ding, ding. My spotlight has shined.
Sean?
It's something. It's shining bright upon Jackie Deacon. Hi, Jackie Deacon. How are you? So she says, welcome to all the new challengers who have joined us. She says, for those who are new to the group, I thought I'd share a little throwback Thursday to make my results in the 6-week challenge in October last year, and a photo to show you where my weight loss journey started 13 years ago, mind you. So September-October challenge was my 5th consecutive challenge. And despite being happy with my results each time, this was the first time I'd finally made it to the top 50. Coming runner-up was the icing on the cake and an amazing reward for the hard yards I've put in over the previous 18 months of challenges. And yes, I had a cake. I celebrated turning 40. So my advice for you all, as you begin this journey, is while focusing on this challenge and giving it your all, don't forget to look beyond the 12 weeks. If you don't achieve everything you'd hope for in this challenge, that's okay. In fact, it's quite normal. Don't give up. Just keep going. Every workout counts and will make a difference in your long-term goals. You've got this. Believe in yourself and you will move mountains.
Whew.
Woo!
What a post from Jackie. Girl. I love that.
Woo, woo. That's brilliant. I don't really have anything else to say because I don't want to ruin her fantastic words. That's it. She summed it up.
That summed it up. Yeah.
So the next one is Amy Marie. All right, Amy. Okay, heading into my 3rd challenge. First was in 2013 and finished top 50. Bottom image from 2013, 8 weeks after the challenge, pre-babies or IVF. Second was May 2020 challenge, 7 months postpartum, pictured. So you can go and have a look at this in the Facebook group. And I made top 10. So next week I embark on my 3rd. I'll be 10 weeks postpartum with my 2nd IVF baby and over 40 now. So definitely have my work cut out for me, but determined to bring it and prove to myself I still have that 2013 fitness in me. Go, Amy. You can do it.
Wow. 2nd IVF baby and over 40, just like Jackie. Just hit 40 as well.
Yep.
Amazing.
Yep. They're my peeps. You guys are my peeps. Like let's keep going. We can do it. We can have the abs. We can have everything else. In fact, our muscles look pretty cool because they're mature. Muscle maturity. Thank you very much. Okay. Yep. You know what I'm saying? Like we worked hard for these over. Some of us had 20 years. That's pretty cool. All right. So now we've got Sue. We've got our ambassador, Sue, and actually previous challenger winner. So Sue Gullemeyer, and she actually is really cool. And she says, only a few more days to prep week. Are we ready? Lots of people asking what we can do in prep week. A few ideas. So she's sort of on the same track as us. She says, start drinking water, aim for 2 liters a day. Start moving, aim for 10K steps a day, 10,000 steps a day. Clean out the cupboards of anything that may tempt you to eat not so good foods. So she just means anything that you might be snacking on that's got maybe a little bit too many calories for your goals. No really good or bad foods, but it's just more the calories. Look at gym memberships or source some simple gear to use at home. We've got the M Home, so have a look at that one. Get a lunchbox so you can take food to work with you. Buy and order your protein or other subs. Get ready to take photos and measurements. Have goals. Have a main goal and set smaller goals to keep you on track, which I love. Find something to be accountable. Find someone to be accountable to. It's harder to give up if someone else is relying on you. Get excited to make a difference. If you've already done all this, guess what? Prep week will be easy. You'll be straight into making a new you. See you all at the start line.
Wow. That's some really good advice.
I know. That's because she's won it before. So, success leaves clues, everybody. So if you're going to go to her, no, I don't want to do that, she can come back to you and say, well, I've won it out of everybody. So she knows.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I think it's important that we do take a moment to look at the foods that might be in our house, right? Like we all have our own kryptonite. And if you've been listening to the Challenge podcast, you know that my kryptonite is anything in paste form, more specifically.
I saw it the other night. I saw it we had a work do, and you and your hummus.
Yeah, look, you can't have hummus around me. It can't be a thing. Same with yogurts, can't be around me. So if you live in a household where, let's say, chocolate is your kryptonite, and you have your family and maybe your partner or your kids love chocolate as well, so there's always chocolate in the cupboard. That's not going to be very supportive, right? Every day you open the cupboard, you're going to see the chocolate. It's going to look you in your eyeballs, and you're like, oh, geez, that Kit Kat looks really good, right? So we need to find ways to either get rid of those foods from our immediate environment or make it more difficult to consume those foods. Maybe you store it on the other side of the house so you don't look at it every time you open up the cupboard in the kitchen. Or maybe if you are one to have a little chocolate bowl on the kitchen table. My mum used to do that when I was a kid, little like those fun size little chocolate bars and stuff on the kitchen table. Every time you walk past the kitchen table, you're like, oh, I'm going to grab one of those. And you might say no at the start. You might say no after day one, after week one, after month one, but eventually you're like, oh, I'm going to grab that Kit Kat. I'm going to grab that, whatever chocolate bar. I don't really know names of chocolate bars these days. But it's all about removing that temptation and making it difficult to do those behaviors, right?
Mm-hmm.
Nick, I've got a few people on my spotlight. So the first one here goes to Bridie Lee. Now, Bridie has been a lot more active on our Facebook social hub. So hello, Bridie, we see you. And she posted a photo here, and it was hashtag Flashback Thursday. So choosing not to use our Throwback Thursday, Flashback Thursday to 2020. Gosh, that time, Nick, 2020. What was it?
Oh.
Was it COVID time, pre-COVID time? Gosh, it just seems like a distant memory now.
Yeah.
Anyway, Flashback Thursday to 2020. Only 1 kilo difference between these photos, but 2 whole clothing sizes. So she posted a photo before and after type situation. Today, I'm grateful for the knowledge and the support from this amazing group who have helped me transform my body this year and showed me how to build muscle and strength. I'm really looking forward to the next challenge, and I wanted to tell anyone out there that's thinking about joining just to do it. You won't regret changing your life for the better. Much love to you all, XXX. I love that, Bridie. It's a super supportive post. And, the image really highlighted that change when we do start to focus on resistance training, where we can completely change our physique over a longer period of time, even though our body weight might not change that much. So thanks, Bridie, for sharing that with us.
Yep. Beautiful.
Next one here goes out to Sabina Salakus. SS Sabina. Hi all, I have another challenge for a couple of years, but I'm finally back. I have had great challenge success in the past and some not so great, and I'm determined and focused and will give it my all this round. I want to look and feel amazing in my skin and hopefully gain some guns. Ooh, she's going to need a license for those guns in the process. She says, let's get it done. And Sabina, I see you. And we hope that you can join us in the new M challenge with all the energy that you've had in previous challenges. And you could show us your gun show, I reckon.
Mm-hmm. Love it. Ultimate Arms, maybe.
Ultimate Arms. Ooh. Last one here goes out to Julie Brown. And she writes, 5 sleeps till prep week, kiddies. Well, we're in prep week now, so this is a few days ago. And she writes, it's great to see so many people signing up, and the new app looks great. The app is in a new format, and the M Challenge team have been very responsive to any issues. So please be patient out there with some hiccups. Don't be afraid to ask questions on the hub. Everyone is so supportive, and we are all here to help you achieve your best. I'm sure everyone is super excited to start. I know I am. And she does a little flamingo dancer, a little flex emoji and a party emoji and a little happy emoji. So lots of emojis from Julie, and we're excited that you are now able to access the training and nutrition sections of the app. And we're excited for you to use the app over the next 12 weeks, and we're excited to see what you can get done. So congratulations, Julie. We see you. We see you.
Yeah. Don't worry. We do see everybody's happy comments and issues, and we work on everything.
That's right. That's right. Nick, let's move on to our next segment here, the Coach's Corner, where we offer our tip for the week. So Nick, take us away. What advice do you have for us today?
I just want to quickly tell you that I had a week off training last week. I still did my steps. I still got my nutrition. I just did not train with weights for about maybe 4 or 5 days, which for me is like a week. That's a long time. But nothing happened. Nothing bad happened. In fact, I went back into the gym and I got some really good cracking personal bests. I did legs. My legs are actually killing me still. But the fact is, there was no reason. I didn't have a reason like yours where I wasn't sick. I think with all the stuff with the app and things like that, it just, even though I've got a home gym, it just didn't feel, I wasn't feeling it. So rather than having a crisis and going, I can't do anything, I looked at my hierarchy of needs, and it was obviously that I needed to feel secure in other areas of my life. So I couldn't really prioritize my training on those days. Now, this is somebody who's actually, I'm going to be exhibiting my physique in a competition. So it's probably pretty important for me to have it all on track. So what I did was decide what was going to be my priority. So I would get up super early and do the steps. I'd get myself on the leaderboard. That was just by accident because you guys are animals. I didn't need to do that many steps. And then I would prepare my meals and make sure that I was moving throughout the day, doing other stuff like cleaning and things. And some people are sick around here, so looking after people around here. Nothing bad happened. So it's very similar to your advice at the start, Coach Steve. I just say to everybody, nothing bad is going to happen. Just control the things that you can control. And also, just because one thing goes out the window. So for me, it was my weight training for a few days, which is really unheard of for me. Like, I rocked up to the gym and I thought, I'm so flat. I look flat, like a flat Freddy. But that was just me just going, where are my muscles? But it didn't take long. We're back. But yeah, it's just really important for people to understand that not everything has to go out the window just because one thing can't be achieved at that time. And also choose sometimes to look after your base level of health before you add anything else in. Always come back to that base level. So that's my advice.
Yeah, I like that. I like that a lot, Nick. And I think that really highlights that idea that, sometimes we're just not okay. Sometimes we are like really stressed. We've got a million things going on. And does that mean that we throw away all our goals and all the things that we like and our hobbies and, all our aspirations? No, we kind of take a moment. Maybe we just need to recharge our batteries and we get back into it. Yeah. And, both you and I and the M Challenge team have had a pretty, I'm going to use the word stressful, past maybe month as we've launched this app, but that's okay because we know that there's going to be light at the end of the tunnel and it's going to be the best thing ever once it is finally ironed out and everything's good to go. And I'm with you with that, where there's times over the just past couple of days where I've been feeling a little bit better post-COVID, but still experiencing some levels of stress. And when it does come to train, I'm like, oh, okay, got to do this thing, And what happens is once I get back into some training, I get after one exercise, 2 exercises, next thing I'm halfway, I'm almost done, and I'm like, hey, I actually feel kind of good. So, take that as well, where, you might be feeling a little bit down in the dumps with your individual life, not you, Nick, but the person who's listening. For whatever reason, it's unique to you, but it's all about what you do next. And sometimes you might find a little workout might help brighten your day. And that's always the positive out of all of this. We're not trying to beat ourselves up or trying to use training as punishment or anything like that. We're trying to use it and experience the positive things that come out of training and looking after our body.
So true. And look, mine was just, I just thought I'm going to go stepping with my mum because she's my best friend. So we'll have a chat and some steps together, and that'll do me for a few days, and nothing bad happened. In fact, my check-in photos were probably the best that they've ever been. So boom.
Boom. Love
everybody, boom.
Boom. Nick.
Yeah.
I want to talk a little bit about the concept of junk volume. Okay, so strap yourself in. We're going on a ride. All right, junk volume.
Okay.
Let's talk about it. So, junk volume refers to this concept that after a certain point, the more exercise that we do is limiting. It doesn't actually produce any more significant results. Okay, so before we go any further, let's just define what volume means. Volume is the total amount of sets of exercise that we complete. Okay, so let's say you have your training program, there's 20 sets of exercise, that's your volume. 20 sets is volume. Okay, we can break that down to volume per muscle group. So maybe in your training program, you might work out that your training program has, I don't know, maybe 10 sets of chest, 10 sets of backs, 8 sets of quads, 7 sets of hamstrings. So that's the volume per muscle group. Now, we do know that volume is the primary driving factor for hypertrophy. Well, when volume is equated, meaning that if each set is taken close to failure, meaning technical failure, where you're unable to do another rep for that target muscle group, that's how we would define a set. So if everything else is uniform, your sets, your execution, how you train, the main driving factor is how much work, how much volume, how much exercise you do per muscle group. Okay, generally, the more volume we complete, the more exercise that we do, the more gains we're going to get. There is a dose-response relationship between how much exercise we do and then our results or hypertrophy signaling that we get, to a point. So, there is that tipping point where if we want to do more, it doesn't lead to any more results, okay? So take something like maybe a step up or a lunge type movement. We might do, let's say, 10 sets, and that trains like our quadriceps. But if we were to push that out all the way to the other side, if we were trying to do 100 sets of a lunge, we call that a run, and we tried to go for a 10K run and say that was, 100 sets of lunges, that won't equal the same hypertrophy response. It turns it into another beast in its own, okay? So there is a tipping point where more is no longer better, okay? And we theoretically map this out in a U shape where it's an inverted U shape, sorry. So it's like an upside down U shape or like a mound, meaning that we do more and more exercise leads to more results to a certain point where if we do any more, it might actually mean less results, okay? And there was an interesting research paper that came out by Chris Beardsley over the past week where he highlighted that per muscle group, per workout, there's this tipping point theoretically around about 8 sets per muscle group. Ooh, that's a nice number. So the more sets per muscle group we do leads to more results until we get to this tipping point around 8 sets. Then as we do more exercise per muscle group than 8 sets per workout, we start to see a decrease in the amount of hypertrophy per muscle group. And we also see a rapid increase in the amount of total damage placed on that muscle. So if you have been training in a particular way where maybe you are doing something really extreme, like you're doing a bro split, you have a chest day, a back day, a shoulders day, a legs day type situation, and then for your chest, you decide to do maybe barbell bench press, and then you do a dumbbell incline press, and then you do dips, then you do chest fly, and then you try to find some deficit push-ups, and then maybe you do another version of a chest fly, and then you finish it off with a machine chest press drop set or something crazy because you want to hit your chest in all the angles, bro, and you want to shark the muscle and all this crazy stuff that folk do out there. There's a tipping point where, after 8 sets, you're not actually getting any more hypertrophy. You're not actually stimulating your chest any more than just doing 8 sets, right? But what you're doing is you're rapidly increasing the amount of damage that you're placing on the muscle, meaning that instead of recovering after, let's say, 24 hours, where you have that muscle soreness for 24 hours and then you're good to go maybe 2 days later, you do require a whole week to recover. So that means that you don't get another stimulus effect on your chest for an entire week, which means that you kind of get this little bit of a hypertrophy dose and you get a little tick, and then you get a flat line for another 6 days, where that might not be the most effective way to build muscle. So I want you to take a moment to think about, one, your training program in the past, and then two, your expectations of the training program in the M Challenge. And if you're looking at the training program and you go, gosh, Steve, Nick, what the hell? There's only 6 sets of chest on this particular day. Surely that's not enough. And we go, hold on. Look at the bigger picture here, where you could do more. Nothing's stopping you. I'm not there watching you exercise. You can go and do 2 plans back to back if you want. You could train 7 days a week, no dramas. You could do whatever you like. But our advice, based on, one, our experience coaching individuals, 2, our experience coaching ourselves, and 3, what our experience around the challenge has been, and then 4, what research is suggesting to us in a broader sample size of people all across the world, we start to go, well, that's not my advice. My advice is to limit yourself to, let's say, maybe that 6 to 8 to maybe 10 sets per muscle group per workout, and anything more than that is simply wasting your time. You are adding more unnecessary damage, more fatigue that you have to recover from, which is going to take time. That damage and that fatigue is a higher risk of injury. So if you want to do, 30 sets of chest every single Monday, because that's International Chest Day, right, Nick? After a certain point, eventually, your shoulders are going to give way, your pec is going to, something's going to happen there. And that is because we're training at a really high volume for too long and accumulating lots and lots of unnecessary fatigue and damage to the muscle. So there's a concept we call junk volume. It is prevalent out there, especially for the bros who love to train in the body part style splits. And it's just something to reflect on and think about how intelligent your programming might be. And is there ways that we can make it better by changing our expectations of what a training program should look like?
Do you know the crack up about that as well is that when you have more time, it's usually because you're used to spending time at the gym and you go, actually, what else can I do? So that's where you have to think of other hobbies as well.
Yep.
Like you don't have to live at the gym. Now this is physique. Like if you're training for an Ironman, then do your volume, get out there. But that's completely different to looking a certain way, which we want you to do.
That's right. That's right. I do think that there's that concept of the Dunning-Kruger effect. You've heard of that before, Nick, where maybe you're a beginner, you're a super, you got like low confidence, you're a super newbie, right? And you might not know a lot and you're kind of like down in this like low confidence and, okay, I'm going to do it. And then as you're maybe this intermediate, you've got this really big boost of confidence, but really you don't know lots of things, but you know a little bit, right? But then as you move more advanced, you've kind of like lowered your confidence because you're like, crap, I don't know anything, even though you've accumulated lots more knowledge. Now, many of us kind of get stuck in this intermediate area where you learn like, oh, well, geez, the pecs, there's an upper portion, a middle portion, and the lower portion. And, for best response for, regional hypertrophy, I've read that you need to do like, chest flies this way and this way and this way. And you've got to get dips in. You've got to do a dumbbell chest press and you've got to do some push-ups to failure and you've got to do the bench press. You've got to do all the things like you almost have to, right? And that's kind of like this middle kind of Dunning-Kruger area where we go, well, shit, I kind of have to do all these things and or I'm not going to get any results. Where as you become more advanced and you mature into training, you kind of go, well, hey, I've got time. Like I don't need to do all the chest exercises on this one day. I can spread that out through the whole week. I can cycle it through mesos every 4 weeks. I choose a different chest exercise. I've got another 10 years, 20 years, 30 years of training ahead of me. I don't need to do all the exercises right on this one day. I've got time. And that's what I'm going to invite you to feel, that if you are kind of feeling overwhelmed, that you need to do all the exercise possible. You walk into the gym, you walk into Coach Nick's gym and you see all the leg press machines and you're like, geez, I need to do every single leg exercise. That's going to be limiting. It's not going to be wise to try to do everything every session. And it's probably better to intelligently design our programs so that we are hitting different muscle groups in different angles and different areas over a period of time rather than doing it all at once.
Even the guy who owns those machines, who's a pro bodybuilder, he doesn't do every machine all at once. No. He owns them. He could play around with them every single day. You don't see that with him. No. He's very targeted. So, you only get to play with those machines every now and then. And I think it's also this scared thing that people have where they go, something's worked for me. I'm not exactly sure what it is, so I need to keep doing absolutely everything because if I take one thing away, it might all fall apart. And that's very, very, very common. And especially they're telling me to take this one thing away that works, especially the cardio thing. And it's like, what if that was the one thing that was stopping it from working?
Ooh,
Oh. Oh my God, why am I so deep? It's because my brain's got more room in it because I haven't used my muscles as much in the last week.
No, love it. Nick, let's move on to our next segment here where we answer some questions from the previous week. So the first question here is, any tips to make you get up out of bed in the morning? I have clothes ready, all set to go. Alarm goes off and nope, I'm staying under the doona. This clearly won't get me through the challenge. Nick, what advice would you give this person?
So this was a thread on the Facebook group. So you can always go through and have a look at this thread because there were some really good suggestions. One of the suggestions, which doesn't work for me because it disrupts everyone in my house, is to put your alarm away from your bed and it forces you to get up. I don't know how people do that because I'd wake up everybody in my household. But if you can do that, then that's one. But and the one that works for me is just to not make it a negotiable. You know I've pictured the future and I go, how am I going to feel if I haven't done this? And for me, it's my one time when I can do it. I know I'm too freaking lazy to go for a walk at nighttime. I know I'm done by about 3 o'clock. I'm shutting the curtains in this house and ready to wind down. So I picture my future self. The other thing is, it's very similar to what we spoke about before, set your stuff up, make your environment conducive to that kind of behavior. So as in, get your shoes near the door, get your keys near the door. If it's just going for a walk or you're going out to your home gym, you can almost sleep in some of the clothes that you're just going to wear out there. I know it sounds gross, but like I would, if I know that I'm training in my home gym, I'll just wear my tracksuit pants, my jumper, nice and warm. Don't make it uncomfortable for yourself. Stay warm, stay nice and cozy until you start to warm up a little bit doing the activity, because sometimes even in the winter, the freezing sort of stuff will deter you. And the other thing is just make it a habit. That's the other thing. So it takes a little while, and don't be annoyed if you slip up, but just picture your future and what you want to be. And it might sound a little bit woo-woo, but there's no choice. You either do it or you don't.
Yeah, I do think it just comes down to a little bit of stoicism. Like, all right, time to go against the grind and get up. I think I'm one of those unique individuals that I haven't actually woken up to an alarm clock in a really long time, Nick.
Right.
Because I've got two unique alarm clocks. Number one, I've got my little baby. So when he cries in the monitor, I'm awake and my eyeballs are up and I'm ready to go. So that kind of, I can't really stay under the doona when that alarm goes off because I've got to go and tend for my child, right? And then number two is my little puppy. So she has a routine at 6 a.m. every morning is her toilet time. So I don't know how she knows the time because, cats and dogs and our pets don't really understand the concept of time, but 6 o'clock on the dot every day, I hear her from the living room kind of going, whoo, like this. And that is enough for me to kind of get up out of bed because I'm like, oh, geez, I don't want her to pee on the carpet. So up I get, out I go, and, I start my day. So for me, unique position because my environment forces me to get up. And I don't really have an option. So that means that, okay, maybe for some individuals, I'm sleeping in at 6 a.m., but it still gets me up out in bed in the morning and I have my time to, maybe have my morning coffee, maybe get some steps in and, start my morning routine, getting myself ready for the day. Okay, so there's some things to consider where, how is your environment supporting you? If you have a really comfy bed and a really comfy doona, and when that alarm goes off, you can stay in bed, well, you're going to stay in bed is the option. But if you make it so that there's no other option, you can't stay in bed, well, you're going to have to get up and go do your things, right?
Yeah. The other thing that I was just quickly going to say as well is go to bed earlier. If you want to get up, you're not going to be able to get up super early if you're watching Netflix till 11 at night. Like that's not good. 11 at night Netflix is not a morning person. You know what I mean? Like I bow out at about 8:30, 9 o'clock, and people might say you're boring, but that's just the way it is for the lifestyle I want to live.
Yeah, I think that's the identity that you've assumed as a fit person, right?
Yeah, that's the only way for me because I'm too bloody lazy to do it at nighttime. I could force it upon my family. There'd be a way, but to be honest, I know my limits. I'm a morning person when it comes to exercise, or I'm not going to do it. Yeah. I do know some individuals who are the complete opposite to us, Nick, where they
are night owls. You know, they will stay up till midnight, and that's just the normal for them. And they will get up at 7 o'clock, 8
Shane's like
o'clock.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I want to destigmatize that, where often the fitness person is, has the identity of like, oh, they're up early in the morning and they're going to do their exercise at 5 a.m. Rah. And if you're not that person, you don't need to force that as well.
No, it's only if you need to fit it in around your family, and that's the only time. Like, you've got kids, you have to take them to school, you're impacting the family. It's the only time you have to force it. Otherwise,
you can go and if you have been a night owl for a long time, and I do believe there's some research around our genetics where some people are more inclined to be more staying up late type person versus getting up early type person. So instead of fighting maybe this concept of the genetics in you to who wants to stay up, but you're trying to force yourself to wake up early, why fight it, right? Where maybe your golden time is 10 o'clock at night. Once the kids go to sleep, maybe that's your time to get your steps in. Maybe that's you. Maybe that's the time where you go do your meal prep. Again, the kids are asleep at 11 o'clock. You're chopping and cooking in the kitchen. Maybe that's your time to do all the things, right? Whereas maybe people like Coach Nick and I, the morning time is for us. Where at 5, 6 o'clock in the morning, we're getting our steps in, we're doing our meal prep, we're preparing for the day, we're doing our morning routine. Like, I'm starting to get some work in for the day done. This is where my brain is the most active in the morning, right? In the evening, 9 o'clock, don't even talk to me. My brain is asleep. I'm ready for bed. Like, I'm not productive. Like that's game over for me. And that's the person that I am. And we shouldn't fight who we are just because of a stigma or an identity that we think that we need to become.
Yeah, that's right. Shane's got he's got the home gym. He's got access to everything. He's got a Coach Nick in the house, and he still chooses to go at 6:30 for his steps or 7 o'clock for his karate class. And that's the end of that. And his training is at nighttime too.
Love that.
It'll never change, and that's what he likes to do.
Love that.
The end.
Nick, next question here is, I'm taking the leap and joining one of my local gyms. I was going to do the challenge from home, but I think I will really benefit from changing things up and being able to use all the fancy equipment. I'll likely still do 1 day a week at home. Are there instructional videos on the app? Is the bulk of the program using gym machines? I'll be looking at doing the M Classic ? Okay, let's break it down. So first thing is that our training programs are super flexible, meaning that you can change your program at any time that you want, and you can change individual exercises at any time. So let's say you chose to do the M Classic and you want to train at home on a particular day. The M Classic might have a leg press exercise in there. You don't have a leg press at home. Once you begin the workout, you can swipe and you can swap it for a similar exercise. Okay, so that's the first thing I would say. Next, you can also go through the browse section of the training app, meaning that if you can't train on a particular day, but you can train on a different one, you can go through the browse section and choose a program that is suitable for that. Okay, now in the perfect world, I would have liked to program more machine dominant training programs. Mainly because the ease of doing those machine exercises and the stability support that is in there, you could really load up, you can add lots of resistance, really great for hypertrophy. But to be real here, many of us don't have the same commercial gym as everyone else does. We take someone like Coach Nick's commercial gym, amazing, got all the toys, all the machines. You're a fitness person's candy store where you've got all the things. Whereas someone else, their commercial gym might be in their apartment. They've got one of those small little apartment gyms where they've got like a multi-station machine and some dumbbells, and you go, well, go to a hack squat or a belt squat or a pendulum squat, and you might be like, what the hell is that, right?
So it's basically one of those seated, the leg press ones, those ones. Yeah, that's it.
So we do need to cater for the broad range of individuals. Okay, so our programs are primarily around things like barbells and dumbbell style exercises with a few different machines filtered in there as well. There are a lot more exercises that you can filter in. So if you do want to utilize, a machine pec deck or something like that, you can add that exercise in, but it'll be rare to find that exercise prescribed in your program. Okay. Now, Nick and I are currently working on the exercise video library, and we hope to have that launched very soon. In the meantime, you'll have access to a description of the exercise and a photo of the exercise, and that's again via the browse section. So you can go browse either upper or lower and view all the upper and lower exercises, and from there you can read how to complete each exercise. And we hope to be able to implement the video library soon onto the M Challenge app. But the crux of the question here is, we're super flexible here at the M Challenge. You know, there's no dogma, there's no one absolute way to achieve a goal. It's all about finding ways to, find the principle to get there, which is exercise, strength training. And if that means that you train at home one day, you train at the gym one day, and maybe you train at your friend's house another day, as long as we're getting it done is all that matters.
Mm-hmm.
Nick, next question here starts with, love your feedback. Before I sign up, can you give me some insight into how many days training per week? Food guide, supplement guide, what type of training, etc. I'm looking to lose 10 kilos, tone up, and be bikini ready for our Fiji holiday in October. It definitely looks possible with the amazing transformations I've seen already. So Nick, what advice would you give this person? You know, how do we answer? How many training days and what kind of food are we having? What type of training? What are you going to tell this person?
All right. So training 4 days a week. That's what we have. That's what we recommend. 4 days a week of training. Then we have our steps. So we have a minimum step target. Then in terms of the nutrition, we have a very, very broad range of foods. It's usually based around a protein. And then you've got your energy. So you basically want to construct meals that are fairly simple, as we spoke about, nothing too extravagant, but we do have recipes if you feel that that's the way you want to go. You basically have a calorie target. You want to hit your protein. It's nothing exciting, unfortunately, but it's all the stuff that's actually going to help you with longevity. Now, in terms of losing what type of training, gym training or at-home training, but it's weights-based, resistance-based training, that's what we look at. We're kind of, as we've spoken about, we've sort of taken out the junk fluff, I suppose, and we're trying to hit the crux of the matter to make you look good in your bikini. I don't know if you can lose 10 kilos by October. It's going to depend on your initial start weight. It's going to depend on so many other factors, but you will definitely be able to look awesome in your bikini by October if you stick to the plan. There is no doubt about that. The actual goal weight might go away from your brain once you realize how good you can look if you just follow what you've chosen, follow your targets, and don't go too extreme, as we said. So that big goal of 10 kilos, if I said I wanted to lose 10 kilos by October myself, there probably wouldn't be much left of me. So it depends on who you are and what your start weight is as well. So like, just say you're 120 kilos, and that's very, very possible because, often there's fluids, there's all sorts of stuff that drop with just the scale weight. But yeah, if you get a goal in mind, such as, feeling your best self by October, if you follow the plan, that will happen.
I like that. That's good advice, Nick.
Thanks.
The last question here was a question that was submitted via the Ask Us a Question link found in the description of this podcast. So if you have a question for us that you'd like us to answer, you can leave your question via the link found in the description of this podcast. And this person, Estelle, writes to us, and I think she had a bit of a typo, so we might have to fill the blanks a little bit. And she writes, creatine, my coach said load up ROHR times per day. Your thoughts? Okay, so I'm not sure what she might have meant by ROHRER. That's okay. So maybe she meant multiple times a day, or something like that. Let's talk about creatine, the crux of creatine. So the main loading strategy of creatine is to take creatine once a day. Okay. We have a loading phase and a maintenance phase. Okay. Loading phase, we want to be taking about 10 grams per day for a week, so 7 days. And then once we reach that 7-day mark is when we actually reach this tipping point of muscle saturation. So that's the goal of creatine. We're trying to saturate it within our muscle belly. Okay. Once we reach that saturation level after taking creatine every day for 7 days at 10 grams per day, we then need to maintain that saturation. Now, we don't need as much of a high dose to maintain that saturation level, and that is a dose of 5 grams per day ongoing. Okay, if you miss a day, no dramas. You miss 2 days, no dramas. Miss 3 days, okay, we start to face some problems, but it becomes a great habit and routine if you add that maybe 5 gram scoop into things like maybe a protein shake or a pre-workout or maybe a smoothie so that you remember to take that maintenance dose. Now you can take creatine indefinitely, so you can maintain that 5 grams per day indefinitely and reap the benefits that creatine have over a long period of time. Now, if you don't wish to go through that loading phase, you can start at the maintenance dose of 5 grams per day. It will take you 30 days, so a month, to reach saturation, and then you just continue the 5 grams. So you've got the two options: either load 10 grams per day for a week, reach saturation in a week, and then maintain 5 grams per day, or start with 5 grams per day. It'll take you a month to reach saturation, and away we go. Now, if we try to do other strategies like, taking it multiple times per day, or trying to take it with carbohydrate or fruit juice or a protein or something like that, it doesn't significantly change the way it works. We ingest creatine, it gets saturated into our muscle belly. The muscle belly, through an osmotic effect, increases the amount of water or fluid being held in the muscle. The muscle visibly looks bigger, has more nutrients. And then the creatine plays a role in what's called the Krebs cycle, which is how we recycle ATP, mainly through the extra phosphate that gets released via a chemical reaction in our muscle belly. So basically what creatine does is helps us through those short bursts of activity. So when we're looking at our creatine phosphate system, which is usually within 5 repetitions. So every set that we do, we're doing at least 5 reps. So every set that we do in training, we're going through that creatine phosphate system. If we can be more powerful, more explosive, and have more energy through those first 5 reps, over time, that leads to more muscle stimulus, which means more muscle growth over time, which is ultimately the name of the game here with what we're trying to do, right? So creatine, what I would put as the number 1 sports supplement above protein powders. So if you're not already, take creatine, just take 1 dose a day, either in that loading phase, 10 grams per day, or in that maintenance phase at 5 grams a day. The side effects is that, your muscles look bigger. You might be a little bit heavier. Maybe you might be heavier on the scales by like a kilo because you're holding more water. That's always nice, being more hydrated. Bigger muscles, that's always nice. And that bigger muscle will actually increase the hypertrophy response because you're adding very small amounts of stretch to the muscle because it's actually bigger. So it's just literally big ticks all around. There's also some research that suggests that it improves brain function, joint health, digestion. So it's just getting lots of big ticks as we look at creatine more and more and more and more. So if you're not already, take creatine and reap the benefits today. Well, not today, maybe within 7 days.
Perfect.
Nick, let's wrap it up there for episode number 72 of the Challenge Weekly show. Now, look, if you look at 72, the 7 and the 2 looks kind of similar, 7 and 2, same, but different, right? 7-2. I'm excited when we get to 77 because it was always nice to look at 2 digits next to each other. But look, if you enjoyed this episode, you can go check out the 71 other episodes of the Challenge Weekly show, and we'll catch you next week for episode number 73.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks for tuning in, guys. If you like the show, share it with a friend.
Or leave us a review on iTunes to spread the good word. See you next time.